Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to show you how I label all of my planners, journals, and notebooks in a way that is simple for me to track and reference over the years. And it's a very simple system, and I will be walking you through it. So here is my Hobonichi weeks from last year, 2021. And here is how I labeled it. As you can see at the back, I have PLNR.2021.2. So I'm going to be slowly explaining what this notation means. Here are all of my past planners, 2019, 2020, and then my 2021 planners. And I'm also going to be pulling out a few of my journals. Alright, so I have two piles here, my journals and my planners. The first thing you want to do is assign a certain notation to the type of notebook that you are using. So for my journals, I chose the notation JRNL, which is journal for short. And for my planner, I chose PLNR, which is planner for short. So that is super simple and easy for me, and anybody can figure that out. And your notation can be as long or as short as you need it to be. So for me, I felt like 4 letters was a good length where it tells you enough information, but it's not so long that it takes up a lot of space in the back of your notebook, which is where I place my label. You can place it on the spine of your notebook, in the front, wherever you feel comfortable. And then after choosing the notation, I like to put the year that I used that notebook in. So here is the very first journal that I used in the year 2020, such a throwback. So I have JRNL.2020, and since it's the first notebook that I used, it has 01 at the end. So reading this label, you would know that this was my journal in 2020, and it is the first one that I filled that year. And then after filling this journal, I have journal 2020-02. So now you know that this journal comes right after this one. And then after this journal, all you have to do now is look for journal 2020-03, which I believe is this one. Yep, there you go. So that just goes on and on. Let me see if I can find number 4. Is it this one? Yep. Number 5, there you go. And then when the new year rolls around, I just go journal.2021.01. So here is my first journal in 2021. As you can see, it's JRNL.2021.01. And I find that to be a very useful organizational system for all of my journals, where I have all of my journals in a single year grouped together, so that if I'm trying to organize my shelf or my storage, I have that extra bit of information to help me decide how I'm going to store them. I really like the system because it can also help you organize your planners. If you are someone who likes to switch planners or planner hop just for fun, whatever reasons you have for switching planners, this notation system will help you organize and keep track of all of the information that you put into your planners. Because the whole point of having a planner is holding in important information as well as tasks and goals, right? And if you are looking for a certain task and you recently changed planners, well, how do you know where that information is? That is where this organizational system comes in. So let me show you how well this notation system works. So this is my 2020 planner, my Starbucks planner. Does anybody remember this? This is such a throwback. But back in July, I actually switched out of this planner to do One Book July in this notebook. And it's easy to mentally remember that, but it's always useful to organize your planners and write as much information as you can so that you can stay informed and not get confused as you're looking back on your previous notebooks. If you're the type who likes to keep your planners, which I am, I always keep all of the notebooks I fill. So here in my 2020 planner is June 30th, and then I switched to this notebook for One Book July. And as you can see, I left a note here to remind myself that I jumped to OBJL.2020. This means One Book July. I kind of wish I went with PLNR or planner also for this notebook, but that's what I went with at the time. But since I left a note for myself to jump to this notebook, I know that I can reference this particular notebook, OBJL.2020, and find my July pages in this notebook. So there you go, One Book July.2020. And an easier example would be when I switched planners last year, 2021. So I went from a 2021 Starbucks planner to a 2021 Hobonichi weeks. So I have 2 planners, and I switched on March 2021, and so what I did when I labeled these two at the end of the year is I put down my Starbucks planner as PLNR, that means planner, .2021.01, and that tells me that this was my first planner in 2021. And you can order these notations however you like. This is just what made sense to me. And then my Hobonichi weeks, the label is PLNR.2021.02. And I also labeled the inside of my planner. So here you'll see that I made a little note here that the next planner after this is PLNR.2021.02, which makes sense. And then on the inside cover of my Hobonichi weeks, on the front, I wrote that my previous planner was PLNR.2021.01. So there is some synergy going on with these two planners since I did use them both in 2021. And again, if you like to planner hop, let's say you switch to a third planner in a year. Well, now you can label this as PLNR.2021.03. And then if you switch to another one, you can label that as 04, 05, 06, and so on. And if you somehow end up jumping back to an old planner that you want to use again, you can always just make a note for yourself, just like I did in my Starbucks planner. So just write down the notation of the planner that you're going to jump back into and go ahead and use that planner. So I think this notation system is so good because it alleviates the guilt in planner hopping, because even if you do change planners all the time, you don't feel lost, you don't feel frazzled, and hopefully you don't lose any important information when you are switching, because now you know that on this date I jumped to this planner and so on. And the other benefit for labeling your planner is you can create a master list for yourself that you can reference whenever you want. So I went ahead and created a planner log for all of the planners that I've used in the past, that I've completed at the very least. So I started planning consistently in 2019, and as you can see, I listed out all of the planners that I used since then. So now, thanks to this master list that I made for myself, I know that I used two planners in 2022 and they both have different labels on them. So now I know that not only do I have this planner for 2020, I also had this one because I have them labeled accordingly. And I haven't logged my 2022 planner yet because who knows, maybe I'll change planners this year. So I usually wait till the end of the year to label my planner just so I can have a consistent system going on. And the notation system doesn't have to be just planners and journals. It can apply to any sort of notebook you want to use. So as an example, I have my two baby journals here that I keep for my son. And my label for these is BBJL, which stands for Baby Journal. I thought it sounded so cute. So this was my 2019 baby journal. This just means that I started it in 2019. And it did go all the way through the end of December 2020, since this is an 18-month weekly planner. And I've already explained in the past how I use this. But here was the next one. And since I started this in 2021, the label is BBJL.2021. And again, you can use whatever label you want for your notebooks. These are just the ones that I went with personally because that's what made sense to me. And then as far as the labels go, I used the Brother P-Touch label maker. Here is the model number. I will link this down below, as well as the clear label I use because I find the clear label to be really helpful. I can stick it in the back of my planner and it doesn't interfere with the look of it. But I also use the black label as well. It's just whichever one I feel fits my notebook, but there you go. And that is how my notebook notation labeling system works, however you want to call them. It's super simple and easy to put together, but it has just made my planner life so much easier. So I hope this video helps you organize your planner. Again, if you're a planner hopper or you just like to be extremely organized, I think this is worth doing for all of your notebooks because organizing your notebooks is just part of the planner life, right? Not only do you use your planners and notebooks to track your life and your goals, you should also track the notebooks themselves so that you don't get confused and nothing important falls through. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is Baba Notes and I will see you next time. Bye!